Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys liked the ceramic coating video of the E36. Like I said, trying to do some stuff that's a little different, but there was obviously a purpose for doing that, so I'm really happy I did. It came out absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. It was posted a few days ago. I think you guys will really enjoy it. Tried something a little different, like I said. Did a few time lapses, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So I have a bunch of parts on order for this car with some awesome companies I'm working with, so I can't wait for the next update video on this car to show you guys, because it's gonna be a big one. On that note, speaking of upgrades and updates, it's time to pull the old girl out. Reed and I have some big plans with this car coming up in the next few weeks, so I want to get it prepared as much as I can right now, and we have some upgrades and some updates we need to do suspension-wise. So it's no time like the current. Get this thing put on the rack and show you guys what we got. The weather here in Connecticut has been so warm and cold. The rock, its wheels are literally stuck in ice. So I'm hoping I have enough room to pull the E36 out, put it into the lift bay. I think I'm gonna bring you guys along because a lot of you probably don't know anything about this car, and I will go over it when we get it on the lift. But, you ready for this? Oh, still runs so good. Shout out Bootleg Burton for the gangster tune. It's on ethanol. Been sitting all winter. Typically ethanol when it sits is not good. We're not going to run this fuel this year, but it's freaking incredible how good this car runs. All right, let's get it pulled into the lift bay and I'll show you guys what we're doing. Well, that was an absolute disaster. Oh, that was a mess. I forgot. Jesus. Oh, jeez. I'm all over the place. I forgot I broke the stub axle the last time we drove this car. So it's one-wheel drive in the back, and I got stuck in the ice out there. But we made it in. Let's get this stuff unloaded, get the car in the air, and we'll go over everything. Beauty. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this is my 1998 328 IS. It's hell rot red, and it's my first drift car. Technically, my first drift car. I had a 240 prior to this that I drove for one drift event. It blew up and I got rid of it. So I've had this car for roughly 8 years. It's gone through many renditions, stock power, LS, all the way up to what it makes now, and about 550 horsepower with the nitrous. So it's had a handful of engines, a handful of transmissions, and many renditions. But at this point, mechanically, it's exactly where I want it to be for the purpose of this car. This E36 was never meant to be a competition car, but just a fun car that I could bring to the track and go drive with my friends. Being that the LZ World Tour took off so much, it kind of turned into a competition car, which I don't love. I want to keep this car forever. I want this thing to be nice again, and I don't want to use it in competition. That's why we're building the new car. With competition comes a lot of bruises, dents, crashes, and broken body panels. I'm not going to tell you what Reed and I are doing, but if you know what Reed does, you'll have an idea. That is for a later video, but today is all focused around suspension and refreshing everything in the engine bay. Speaking of engine bay, figured I'd go over this engine real quick. It is a 5.7 liter LS1, rebuilt by JP, the plug. You know him, all of us use him. He's a great engine builder. Very basic though. Race bearings, ARP hardware, stock bottom end, obviously upgraded oil pump, baffled oil pan. It has a set of ported 241 heads, a BTR Stage 3 cam kit, and NA on ethanol, naturally aspirated on ethanol. This car makes 417 wheel and I believe 360 and change in torque. Since we have awesome partners like Holly, who owns NOS, we decided to put a nitrous kit in this car. We have a 150 shot, a dry system, and this car makes 550 wheel horsepower and 505 foot-pounds of torque with the 150 shot. Bootleg Burton, who tuned the car, was pretty confident in it. I didn't think this engine would last more than a weekend, and it's been like this for over a year. So I kind of feel like it's on borrowed time, but then again, it could run forever like this. So we're just gonna keep going until it has an issue. As you can tell though, with how many track days we've done with this car, it's definitely time for a refresh. Everything's tired, dirty, greasy. There's been trackside weld repairs done, and it's just time to care for this car again, especially when we'll have this new car to drive this year. So the plan is to refresh everything I can refresh and keep this thing going for another 8 years, because this car got me into drifting. This car has introduced me to some of my best friends who will be lifelong friends, and I don't get sentimental about anything. Prior, I used to sell everything. It didn't matter to me, but for some reason, this car has brought me a lot of places. We've won some events with it, and I just freaking love it. I really do. So it's time to start caring for it. It's time to get it back better than ever, and we're gonna start with suspension today. All right, I'm interrupting this video to bring special news to today's video. I never thought I would be able to say this, so I am proud to announce that we have partnered up with Tire Streets for the 2024 drift season using the Accelera 651 Sports. The tires that, for those that have followed me for a while, you guys have known I've been running these tires non-stop for the past 3 years, and I absolutely love them. So to have a company that I stand behind me is so freaking cool. So if you guys want your own, you can use code GRANT. I'll put it right here on tirestreets.com. It'll give you 15% off site-wide and free shipping. So once again, massive shout out to Tire Streets. Love you guys. If you need tires, I have not found a company that ships tires faster. I always wait until last minute when I buy tires for a drift event, and they come in typically 2 to 3 days, depending on where you live in the country. So if you need tires quick, they're kind of the plug. All right, let's get back to the video. Let's get these wheels pulled off, and I'll show you guys the plan for today. All right, got the wheel pulled off. Put a light in here, give you guys a better view. We have the BC DS series coilovers, which we just upgraded to about a year ago, so no need to change those. But we have an SLR Ultra Kit on this car that I put on probably 7 years ago, and it still freaking works. Since it uses the factory Knuckle, the Knuckle adapter from all the hits and crashes I've taken over the years is starting to wear out a little bit, but can't even be upset. It's been so long on the car. So we have a new piece to put in today. Not only that, but when I decided to go back to a front sway bar, I only had this crusty piece with these junk bushings and factory end links, so we have an upgrade for this as well. Let me see if I can get this Knuckle adapter pulled off without pulling the entire suspension apart, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get the stuff pulled off, baby. Got this out, just had to loosen up the inner ball joint a little bit. Now we have to figure out how to get this thing off because it's been on there for a long time. Nothing a little hammer can't fix. All right, so got the Knuckle adapter off, and now this shank is pretty much stuck in here. Like I said, this stuff has been on the car for like 7 years, so it's gonna take a little more work to get off. You know, it's my fault for not pulling it apart and greasing everything up every once in a while, so lesson learned. We're gonna do that from now on. Also, I took the little muff off the microphone, so I know it's distracting, but I'm just trying to make the best videos for you guys that I can. So I think I'm gonna pull the coilover off. I might just pull the whole Knuckle out of the car. I don't know. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do yet, but I will let you know as soon as I do. Do I just pull the freaking thing off? All right. This should make life a little bit easier. That's all it took. Now, how crazy do we go? Do we clean these up and paint them like we did with these? Or do we just leave them and put them back on? I think we clean them up and paint them, but yeah, you know what? That's what we're doing. Okay, we're going for it. Pull the control arm off. This thing's still in great shape, but from, where are we? hitting the wheel, etc., the powder coat has started to chip off of it. So we're gonna clean this up, throw a coat of paint on it. All right, we're jumping her out a little bit. Got a coat of Steal It polyurethane aerosol on here. Look at how good this looks for spray paint. It's freaking insane. And actually, I'll show you a finished E36 Knuckle because I just did one the other day for another car. This is what it comes out like. Finish is crazy. While we wait for the paint to dry and the paint stripper to do its work, I figured I'd show you the new parts we have to put on this car. All right, if you can see here, these are very similar designs, but I just noticed a few key differences. This kit, like I said, 6 or 7 years old. You can see it has a drop down here and here, and this one does not. This one is a thicker piece of aluminum, no drop downs. No drop downs here. That pocket for the tie rod is much deeper on this one. This was the main problem I was having. So since I had used this in the car for so long, this adjustment right here is for Ackerman. Ackerman basically is how much angle the lead wheel has versus the trailing wheel. So more Ackerman, the more angle the lead wheel has, vice versa. So it's adjustable on this kit, which is great. The issue I was having, I think you'll be able to see here, is that over time, the Ackerman bolt, the tie rod bolt, kind of ate itself into the aluminum, which isn't a big deal, but when I go to adjust Ackerman, the bolt was kind of always stuck in that one location. So, SLR remedied that, made the pocket deeper, used a gnarlier bolt so that this won't happen anymore. Super stoked. I got a nice juicy part. It's gonna work perfect with the control arms that I'm cleaning up, the knuckles that I'm cleaning up. Everything is gonna be nice and new in the car. So RIP my original angle kit. I had cut knuckles and E36 lower control arms prior to this, but I've had this kit on the car for, like I said, probably close to 7 years. So okay, well, we let the control arm dry. Let's get this thing put together. You ready? It's crazy that this little angle kit and the control arms are what give this car so much angle and such a good steering feel. We've got this thing bolted up. We obviously can't do anything with the bottom here because the control arm goes here, the tie rod goes here. I'm glad we got new outer Heim joints, new Ackerman adjustments, and I also marked them on the knuckle adapter so we know exactly where they are. If these pins do break, we'll know where it was supposed to be. So this thing is all set, ready to go back in the car, painted, looks freaking incredible. I'm glad I spent the extra time to paint it. And now we're gonna do the other side, and you guys aren't gonna have to watch through it. While we watch paint dry, I figured now would be a good time to replace this dusted ass stock sway bar, with SLR's new E36, E46 adjustable sway bar. All right, turn this baby on, zero it out. Stock sway bar is roughly 25 mil. SLR sway bar is, geez, roughly 33, 32 and a half. So instantly that's gonna make the front end stiffer. And then depending on where we put the end links in the end of the sway bar is going to affect the stiffness of the front end. So we're gonna leave this one all the way soft, and then when we go do some testing, we'll be able to adjust the sway bar end lengths to our liking. Control arm, satin clear, done. It's pretty much dried up. Let's get this stuff thrown back in the car, and then you can see the final product. All right, we are back in and back together with the freshly painted control arms, the new SLR knuckles, the new SLR Heims, and then we're using our original tie rods, lollipop mounts, etc. I'll be completely honest, I'm not super stoked with the paint job I did on the control arms, so I may pull this one out tomorrow. I'm glad I didn't do both at the same time because I would have been super bummed. But I think I'm gonna pull this out tomorrow, clean it all up, and then use Steel It. I don't like the look of the regular spray paint. I'd rather just have it all one neutral color. I think that's the plan. What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's video. It is the next day, and I've spent the past, more than I'd like to admit, refinishing these control arms. The paint we did last night, I was not happy with, so we stripped them and went to a hammered silver, which I think came out insane. Take a look. Boom. Got the other control arm ripped out so I could paint them at the same time, and we're gonna get this one thrown back in the car. I'll get the left side complete so you guys can see the new, pretty much brand new angle kit now at this point. I also, look at how freaking good this looks. So, new Knuckle, painted the hub, or painted the spindle with Steel It, ended up painting the caliper. I need some new rotors and stuff, but they're not warped or anything, so it should be good. Got the bar in, as you guys saw, and once we get the control arm in, we can hook the end links up, and we'll be freaking good to go. Little side quest for the end of the video. I have some carbon fiber here. I bought a 12-inch by 12-inch sheet of carbon fiber off of Amazon, and the plan is to make that out of carbon with aluminum mounts so that I can mount this Nexus R5 mock-up ECU to this, just like this, and it can be bolted up to the firewall so that it is nice, secure, out of the way, and also looks nice. So let's get the E36 back together so that we can play around with the E46 for the rest of the night. Man, am I freaking happy that I spent the time, repainted the control arms so they look nice, because this would have looked horrible with all the nice new fresh painted parts. Slowed down my process for the day. In the long run, it's gonna be so much more worth it. So very happy I did this. Oop, I'm zoomed in. Oh, yep, there we are. All right, I'm gonna get this thing tightened up, finished up, and while we wait for the other control arm to dry, we will get to work on mounting the ECU, and I'm gonna call it power distribution area for the new car. A little time has passed, but I did get these made up, and I'm pretty dang proud of them. So I got these L brackets made up to mount the carbon fiber to the firewall. All I used was this piece of, I believe it's 1/8 by 3/4 from Amazon. It's aluminum stock. My bench vise, a straight edge to use as a measuring tape, and then I have a little dinky grinder over there that I use to round the edges out. But I'm pretty dang happy with these. So the plan is for these to mount here, each side. And then I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. So the ECU obviously needs to be mounted to the carbon fiber. So that's gonna mount like this. These I made long enough to be able to bolt these through here. So the next step is going to be marking out where that's gonna have its final resting spot. Mark out where the final resting spot for the ECU is gonna be, drilling some pilot holes, and then bolting this in, seeing where these end up in the car. So progress, 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 progress. Here's what I have come up with. I got this sheet of carbon off Amazon. I just bent these brackets up, which came out really good. Like really good. I'm super stoked on these. Obviously the hardware is not the correct length, but whatever. So this is going to mount in here. You can see I marked a little spot where I have to drill holes, but I'm going to pull the L brackets off, drill the holes out, put riv nuts in them, and then bolt this on. We should be freaking good to go. I'm fired up. These small victories are what's going to make this car happen like super quick. I know this seems irrelevant. I shouldn't even be showing you guys this, but this little tiny stuff is what's gonna make this car really good. This car, I used to rush putting that car together, and it's always bit me in the butt. So this car, spend my time, do everything to the best of my ability at least, and then we should have one hell of a car when we're done. All right, well, it looks like a bomb went off in here, but I did get something that I've had in my brain for a while, done to the best of my ability, and I couldn't be happier. So take a look. Got the Nexus R5 mounted up, bent up these 3 brackets, and it actually bolts through the firewall from the front. I riv nutted it. I am freaking pumped. On top of that, the E36 suspension is complete, and I want to show you guys this as well. So we have the new SLR sway bar with their adjustable end links, the new SLR angle kit with my original outer tie rods and my original control arms that we painted, and they look so freaking good. I'm, like I said, so happy that I did this. So we are refreshed suspension-wise on this car. I'm so happy I took the time to paint everything, make it look nice, and just going to extend the longevity of everything. Just the little extra care, taking care of everything, painting it, cleaning it up will help me down the road in case anything happens. So I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in 2 days.